Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, chapter. Please chant the sloka.
Mataji, voice is low.
Very low.
Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, it's fine now. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji.
Mataji,
Now it's fine.
Very soft.
Now it's fine. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji. Yes, Mataji. Now it's fine.
Abhisandaya yohimsam.
Abhisandaya
yohimsam.
Abhisandaya yohimsam.
Abhisandaya yohimsam.
Dambam matsaryameva va.
Dambam matsaryameva va.
Dambam matsaryameva va. Samrambi bhinna drikbhavam.
Samrambi bhinna drikbhavam.
Mai kuryat tamasah.
Mai kuryat tamasah.
Abhisandhaya yohimsam.
Abhisandhaya yohimsam.
Dambam matsaryam eva va.
Dambam matsaryam eva va.
Samrambi bhinna drikbhavam.
Samrambi bhinna drikbhavam.
Mai kuryat tamasah.
Mai kuryat tamasah.
Abhisandhaya yohimsam.
Abhisandhaya yohimsam.
Dambam matsaryam eva va.
Dambam matsaryam eva va.
Bhinna drikbhavam.
Samrambi bhinna drikbhavam.
Kuryat tamasah.
Mai
kuryat tamasah.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Abhisandhaya yohimsam. Dambam matsaryam eva va. Samrambi bhinna drikbhavam. Mai kuryat tamasah. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Abhisandhaya yohimsam. Dambam sarva evam va. Sarambi dinna drigbhavam. Mai kuryat tamasah. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Yohimsam tamba matsaryameva va. Sarambi mitra drigbhavam. Mayi gursasa tamasaha. Hare Krishna.
When one devotee is chanting, others please have to keep quiet as they etiquette. Synonyms: abhisandhaya, having in view, yaha, he who, himsam, violence, dambam, pride, matsaryam, envy, eva, indeed, va, or samrambi, angry, bhinna, separate, dhrit, whose vision, bhavam, devotional service, mai, to me, kuryat, may do, saha, he, tamasaha, in the mode of ignorance. Translation: devotional service executed by a person who is envious, proud, violent, angry, and who is a separatist is considered to be in the mode of darkness. Hare Krishna, Supriya Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. It has already been stated in the Srimad Bhagavatam, 1st canto, 2nd chapter, that the highest, most glorious religion is the attainment of causeless, unmotivated devotional service. In pure devotional service, the only motive should be to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is not actually a motive, that is a pure condition of the living entity. In the conditioned stage, when one engages in devotional service, he should follow the instruction of the bona fide spiritual master in full surrender. The spiritual master is a manifested representation of the Supreme Lord because he receives and presents the instructions of the Lord as they are by disciplic succession. It is described in Bhagavad Gita that the teachings therein should be received by disciplic succession, otherwise there is adulteration. to act under the direction of a bona fide spiritual master with a motive to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead is pure devotional service. But if one has a motive for personal sense gratification, his devotional service is manifested differently. Such a man may be violent, proud, envious, and angry, and his interests are separate from the Lord's. One who approaches the Supreme Lord to render devotional service, but who is proud of his personality, envious of others, or vengeful in the mode of anger, he thinks that he is the best devotee. Devotional service executed in this way is not pure, it is mixed and is of the lowest grade, tamasaha. Srila Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakura advises that a Vaishnava who is not of a good character should be avoided. A Vaishnava is one who has taken the Supreme Personality of Godhead as the ultimate goal of life. But if one is not pure and still have motives, then he is not a Vaishnava of the first order of good character. One may offer his respects to such a Vaishnava because he has accepted the Supreme Lord as the ultimate goal of life. But one should keep company with a Vaishnava who is in the mode of One should not keep company with a Vaishnava who is in the mode of ignorance. Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, thank you. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavatam 3rd Canto 29th chapter, sloka number 8. Api sandhayayo himsam dhambam matsaryam eva va sambravi bhinna dhridbhavam mai kuryatsa tamasaha. Translation: Devotional service executed by a person who's envious, proud, violent, and angry, and who's a separatist is considered to be in the mode of darkness. Hare Krishna. So Kapila Dev is continuing his advice to Mother Devahuti. Now, in the next 2 slokas, that means these 3 slokas, he is going to define bhakti, a devotional service, in 3 different modes, like mode of ignorance, mode of passion, and mode of goodness, sattva, rajas, and tamoguna. But then bhakti is transcendental, right? How can bhakti, something is related to Krishna, right? Devotion. So devotion is transcendent. How can devotion be in different modes? It's not the devotion. Devotion is about the 3 modes. It's in Shuddha Sattvagun. But the persons who are performing bhakti, the devotees, they might be in different modes. So that's what is called as tamasic bhakti. Now Kapila Dev is going to explain tamasic bhakti, rajasic, and sattvic bhakti. But bhakti is not adulterated by all these things. It's about the 3 modes. It's transcendental. Right, but then the devotees, because we are all in the spiritual and in the material world, and we are conditioned souls, we are dominated by the 3 modes, so that controlled by the 3 modes. And sometimes, how many of you felt, you should be very sincere, like you get up early in the morning and then you want to chant your rounds, and then when you chant like 2, 4 rounds, 6 rounds, you feel sleepy and you went and sleep, or you feel like going to sleep, to bed, back to bed. Do you feel that? So when you, some are very sincere, some are like pure devotees in this class. That's why. So here it is said that type of bhakti, when you're doing that type of bhakti, that is kind of a tamasic now, right? Because you're kind of very lazy for chanting the rounds, getting up early and all that. So that is one thing. And rajasic means what? When you're chanting, you have so many other desires, like so many. You will just make a list, what all you are supposed to buy. Right. So yeah, those who never had such experience, definitely you're all Paramahamsa stage might be. But then as sadhakas, as we are conditioned souls, definitely one way or the other, you get influenced by the 3 modes, because Maya is so strong. It's not Maya is strong, our Krishna consciousness is weak. So what we have to do is we need to have a strong association of devotees, and then you can overcome that. So when such rajasic thoughts come, that is in rajasic bhakti. But then sattvic means you feel like again doing chanting, but still it's in nama aparat stage. So again, that's defect. You should be in shuddhana, right? That's the pure bhakti. So here it is said that in devotional service, yesterday's sloka also says, in devotional service, the only motive is to please the Supreme Personality of God. No, so but then when you do tamasic bhakti, or the person who is in tamoguna and he do bhakti, then what happens? It cannot please the Lord. It will never please the Lord. So in the Shraddha Vibhaga Yoga, that's division of faith, in the 17th chapter, 13th sloka also, Krishna explains about sacrifice in tamoguna. Vidhihinam ashrishtanam mandrahinam adakshinam Shraddha virahidam yajnam tamasam parichakshati. Vidihinam. It's not given in any shastra how to do it. Ashrishtanam. And mantrahinam, there's no mantra chanted. Adakshinam, not giving any remuneration to the priest. Shraddha virahitam, there's no faith in it. And there's no distribution of Krishna Prasad. That is tamasak, right? So vidihina means without scriptural direction. They just do whimsically some kind of sacrifice, and then it's not given in the shastra. So if we are not doing what is given in the shastra, then it's just disturbance to society. That's what Nectar of Devotion, Rupa Goswami says. Shruti Smriti Puranati Pancharatrim Vitim Vina Ekantiki Hari Bhakti Utpedeva Kalpati, just cause disturbance to society. If you don't follow Shruti, Smriti, Puranas, and Ekantiki Hari Bhakti, you alone, you go and do some bhakti whimsically, that will just cause disturbance. You won't reach the destination. Asrishtanam, without distributing the prasadam. Mandrahinam, without chanting the Vedic mantras. Adakshinam, without giving any money to the priest. Shraddha, that is faith. Without that faith, that's a mode of ignorance. So that's what today Prabhupada's like. So most of the sacrifices in Kali Yuga is like that. So such sacrifices is just not accepted as genuine. And Prabhupada says they are in the mode of darkness and they produce demonic mentality and do not benefit the human society. It doesn't benefit. So why are they actually doing this? Right? So what are the examples of devotees or the people who have the demonic mentalities who did in sacrifice in Tamoguna?
Hiranyakasipu and Ravana.
So Hiranyakashipu did try to please Brahma, and then he could not, and then finally he got destroyed by Lord Narasimha. And Ravana also, he was actually cutting all one by one on his heads and putting onto the yajna to please Lord Shiva. And then what happened? Right. So Ravana wanted Lakshmi Devi without Narayan, in the sense Mata Sita without Lord Ram. Okay. So these are all some examples of Tamoguna, the bhakti that is done in Tamoguna. Okay. And so Prabhupada also says in the conditioned soul, in the conditioned stage, when we engage in devotional service, we should follow the instructions of the bona fide spiritual master, because we don't know what is right, what is not, how to worship. But a guru or a spiritual master can guide us, and who comes in disciplic succession. Right? He should come in disciplic succession. He should be a bona fide spiritual master and act under his direction. You have to act under the direction of the spiritual master, and our motive is to satisfy Krishna and pure devotional service, right? Then that is called Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. So we are doing Sadhana Bhakti on the instruction of the spiritual master. But if our motive is for sense gratification, then devotional services in Tamoguna is manifested differently. And that man becomes violent, proud, envious, anger, and his interests are separate from the Lord. Right? So in Tamoguna, when we do Bhakti, what happens? It doesn't bring good results, right? Even though a person might be doing in Tamoguna, but if his intention is to please the Lord, like for example, there's a story of Kannappa. So what does he do? Kannappa Nayanar, you would have heard that story. So he was an ardent worshipper of Lord Shiva. So he is a hunter. Now what does a hunter know about how to do devotional service, how to do bhakti? He doesn't know. So actually, Prabhupada says bhakti or devotees means to Krishna. But then, yes, Lord Shiva is Vaishnavanam Yadashampo. So through Lord Shiva, also most of them, they reach to Krishna. So he was worshipping Lord Shiva. He was in a forest doing hunting. And he saw a small Shiva Linga, and it was a small temple, but nobody is there inside the forest to take care and all. Might be somebody established it. But a Brahmana comes like every 2 weeks or something and cleans the temple and do some worship and go. This hunter saw that nobody has offered Shiva. So he started offering everything in Tamoguna. He don't even know what is in the scriptures. Started offering that is not prescribed in the scriptures. And sometimes he see the temple is unclean. So he cleans the temple and he started worshipping. But if he was doing in Tamoguna, and the Brahmana was feeling like, why he is doing in this way? Who is this doing such bad things? So later on, Lord Shiva came in the dream of the Brahmana and said, that you might be chanting all Vedic mantras and everything, but that hunter who's still in Tamoguna worshipping me, but his intention is to please me. Okay, so you want any proof? You hide in the bushes and see how he worshipped. So when he went and he was offering worship, what happened? In one of the 3 eyes was drawn on that Shivalinga. So and then from one eyes, blood started dropping out. from Lord Shiva, and the Kannapa could not tolerate that blood coming from Lord Shiva. So what did he do? He took a knife and pierced his own eyes and kept it for the Shivalinga, and blood started oozing from his own body because he could not tolerate the blood coming from Lord Shiva's eyes. So he kept his own eyes there. And then what happened? The second eyes also started, Lord Shiva's second eye started drooping blood, and he could not tolerate that. He's like, I'll take my one more eye and then give it to you, but then how do I see? If I take one more eye, how will I see where to keep the eyes? He was about to take the eyes, and the Lord Shiva appeared, and he said, even though your worship is in Tamoguna, your intention was to just please me. So this is kind of a tamasic, but then the devotional service is executed, which is not pure, it is mixed, and it's a low grade tamasa. It's not given in the Shastra to do this, right? So here it is said, we have to render devotional service and it should be pure. But the person in tamasa, he thinks that he is the best devotee. And sometimes it happens that they feel like my devotional service is better than everyone and I'm the best devotee. You know, that proud thing comes. That is not pure. It still have motives. So that is called tamasa. Vishwanath Chakravarti also tells that if one is not pure, still have motives, he is not a Vaishnava of the first order of good character. What was Prabhupada's mood or Prabhupada's motive to go to America? Just was so compassionate just to deliver the following conditions, nothing else, right? That was his only intention. So the motive or the intention is pure. It should be pure. Then he's a first class Vaishnava. Or else if he have still sense gratification, then he is not first class Vaishnava. Okay, and Srimad Bhagavatam, the 7th canto, also explains Tasmad bhavadi kartavyam karmanam triguratmanam bija nirharanam yoga pravaho paramodhyaha. So Prahlad Maharaj is saying to my dear friends, your duty is to take to Krishna consciousness, which can burn the seed of fruitive activities artificially created by the modes of material nature, and stop the flow of intelligence in wakefulness, dreaming, and deep sleep. In other words, one has to take to Krishna consciousness. When one takes to Krishna consciousness, his ignorance is immediately dissipated. So even though the tamasic bhakti, that is they are doing in tamoguna, still when they take to Krishna consciousness, that ignorance will be dissipated. Tesham satadiktanam bhajatam pritipurvakam tadami buddhi yogam tam yena mamupya. Krishna gives the intelligence. Krishna will guide us, guide that devotee if that intention is pure. Okay, even though they are in tamogana worshipping. You know, we know how Ratnakar, who Ratnakar became whom later on. There was a hunter called Ratnakar. Does anyone remember? Who did he become later on?
Valmiki.
Valmiki. He wrote Ramayana. Just imagine. So he was in Tamagun, right? But he could not even chant Lord Ram's name. It says like so much sin he have done that he could not even chant Lord Ram's name, even though he chanted Marna means kill, to kill. And then even though he chanted like that, still he got the benefit. That's the glories of the holy name. You don't know the prescription, you don't even know what the tablet is made up of, but still you take the tablet, the fever comes down, right? Because the tablet has so much power. So similarly, the holy name has so much power that it can mitigate all the distress. And then he came to slowly to Rajagun, Sattagun, and Shuddha Sattagun. So we all might be in Tamogun, somewhere in ignorance. Ajnana Timiranda say we all had that cataract of Ajnana. But then when reading the Shastras, but in Tamoguna, they don't read the Shastras. They don't follow what is given in the Shastras, right? So here it is that they ignore the Shastric or scriptural injunctions. So some things is called Niyamagraha, Niyama Agraha. Right? Too much attaching the rules is also not good. Too much neglecting the rules. So ignoring the scriptural injunctions, that is in Tamoguna. They worship in their own way. If they say, oh, you're not supposed to do this now, Pancharatrik Viti Narada, nothing, they don't do all this Bhagavad Gita, nothing. They just do in their own way of worshipping, which is just disturbance, and you don't get the right results of it. So they ignore the scriptural injunctions. But since the holy name is pure, just taking to Krishna consciousness, all other tamoguna will be mitigated. So Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya says something more. Smartavya sadadam Vishnu Vishmartavyo na jhatu chet sarve vidhi nishetasyur edayor eva kinkaraha. Krishna is the origin of Lord Vishnu, and he should always be remembered and never forgotten at any time. And all the rules and prohibitions mentioned in the Shastras should be the servants of the two principles. So that's why all the scripture says that we have to follow Shastra. If you do avidhi purvakam, mandrahina, if you do like that, then it's in tamasic mode. And Bhagavatam also explains, right? And Chaitanya Charitamrita also says the rules and prohibitions, whatever is mentioned in the Shastra, that has to be followed. Then only worshipping Krishna has some effect, right? Aradito yadi hari tapasya tatakim, naradito yadi hari tapasya tatakim. If you worship Krishna, then no need of doing any tapasya. If you don't worship Krishna, what is the use of a tapasya? So Vishnu, Lord Krishna is the origin of Vishnu, and Krishna has to be worshipped. And rules and prohibitions, do's and don'ts have to be mentioned. Okay, initially when we come to Krishna consciousness, they say tatrarpita niyamita smaranena kala. There's no rules and regulations to chant. Just come and chant. Now, but as you chant, what happens? They tell 10 offenses to the holy name. They say Vaishnava Parat. They say so many things. You will be like, so much rules are there. And as you go, shelter, then initiation, then again so many rules. Everyone's like, why ISKCON have so many rules and regulations? Because it's given in the Shastra. We are supposed to follow it. Right? If you don't follow, then it becomes in tamasic. So initially, that's the reason most of them, they leave ISKCON because of that. They don't stay because they're like, I can do whatever I want. I can take all whatever is like an animal. I can eat whatever I want and still do my devotion service. I'm chanting my 16 rounds, but still not following the regulative principles, nothing is going to happen. No, that's wrong. The advancement won't happen. You might be chanting holy name, that would be just material. Or whatever purification of your consciousness happened by chanting, everything gets destroyed if you're not following the regulative principles. Because the Shastra says that you have to follow the 4 regulative principles. If you don't follow that, like for example, Ayurvedic, you go to Ayurvedic doctor and you have some medicine, they give kashaya, they give all that medicines. And first thing he says, the diet, gives you the diet plan. Or if you're diabetic and you go to the dietitian and he gives a diet plan, no sugars, no that, this, everything, rice, pickles, everything, the whole plan. If you don't follow that diet, that medicine will not work on you, right? You might be taking the medicine regularly, 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, maybe you're taking insulin regularly, but still you're having sugar on the side. What is the use? Nothing. That medicine, everything that, so holy name is powerful, but then if you're not following the regulative principles and you give holy name, then that holy name just doesn't affect on you, doesn't have any change in your consciousness. Right? So that's why rules and regulations are very important, which is given in the Shastra. That's why Prabhupada was so strict. He never made any compromise. Prabhupada never made a compromise. Even when he went to America, wherever he goes, he never made a compromise. He always said them, you have to follow the regulative principles. Right? Initially, he didn't say. So initially, if we say to you in level 1 class, you all would have run. Nobody would have come here. Nobody would have reached to the stage. Initially, just give you Harinam, start chanting. When you start chanting, the purification of consciousness happens. And you realize yourself, because you got the higher taste, Param Trishtani Vartande. Oh, my spiritual Shiksha Guru is telling me to leave non-veg, no intoxication, no illicit sex, no gambling. Let me do that. It is tough. So many Matajis have called me and said, why it's so difficult to leave tea and coffee? Every day morning, the day starts like that. I will get a headache if I don't take, and that is. The same person calls me after a few weeks and say, I have left everything. Why? Because the holy name have changed that person, or the association of devotees. So later on in this chapter, Kapila Dev says the 5 things we are supposed to do is first, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam daily. You're supposed to hear Bhagavatam. Then second is chanting the holy name daily. Third is to associate with devotees, strong association. If your sadhu sangha both is so strong, nothing is going to happen to your Krishna consciousness, and you can automatically follow the rules and regulations. So I told you this, when you go in the local train in Mumbai and Chennai, you don't have to take effort to get inside the train. Many will be there, they push you inside the train. And when it's your station, you can just have to stand near the door and people will push you from outside, inside. You just automatically go out. You don't have to put any effort to go inside or outside, because that's how association is. You don't have to put an effort. Initially, you should have to put the effort, but then the devotees around you give you a strong association that you feel like leaving. Oh, let me also become like that person. Prabhupada was saying, initially they start appreciating the movement. That's why Prabhupada took all the foreign devotees to India. Why? To show them examples. See, you are not able to follow your Sanatana Dharma. See the foreigners. Because Bhakti Devi said, Idam parityaja vitaisham gacchati. She's going to go abroad. And Prabhupada took her abroad and she went. And then they made devotees around the world. And Prabhupada brought them back so that to set an example, yat yatachariti shrestha tat tate vedarojana sayat pramanam puride lokas tat anuvartate. He wanted everyone to know. Many were astonished to see the devotees of the Lord. Once one of the great disciple of Prabhupada, he is a Maharaj now, so he went, wanted to meet Srila Prabhupada. He heard so much about Prabhupada. So the Pandal program was happening and nobody was on the stage except the Mataji, Yamuna Devi Dasi Mataji, who was just sitting and who sang that Govinda Madhipurusha. She was sitting in the harmonium. She was having a nice sari, tilak and kanti. She was so simple and she was chanting. She was just closing her eyes and just in harmonium, she was singing Hare Krishna tune. So this devotee was so moved by saying Yamuna Devi Dasi, because being a foreign girl, lady, and they break these 4 regulative principles every day. Not like us, they break it every day. And then coming out of it was very difficult. But still, she could. Now, the first time when she met Prabhupada, she was actually smoking a cigarette. And Prabhupada's like, we have to make a feast, come. So she's the one who helped Prabhupada in the kitchen. And every time she's like, Prabhupada, Prabhupada, and Prabhupada say, wash your hands, so many times. And in between the cooking also, she asked, can I smoke a cigarette? So much from that stage in Tamoguna came to Sattvagun just by the association of Prabhupada. And this devotee was moved to see Yamuna Devi Dasi chanting like this. So he's like, who's her guru? Who's that spiritual master who turned a foreigner into a Sattvic lady? So I just want to meet him. So immediately that devotee surrendered to Prabhupada just by looking at him. Because Prabhupada never compromised on the rules and regulations of the Shastra. Right? Even ISKCON could have made up a compromise. Then many would have come. All over the world we have devotees, but still it would be 10 times more if we don't have these rules and regulations. All of you agree? No, many of them would be in the movement if we didn't have this 4 regulative principles. Many were saying, Mataji, if this onion, garlic and tea coffee was not there, I would have taken initiation. Many says, but then why we are so strict about it? Because it's Prabhupada, who's a founder Acharya, who gave us, because that's the way the process works. Because one hand you're getting up early morning chanting your rounds, the other hand you're eating food with onion, garlic, you're having tea, coffee. What happens to your consciousness? It's just gone. Whatever you have got through chanting your 16 rounds, you're so proud of saying that I finished my rounds, I did 16 rounds. But are you checking your diet? Are you checking your other things? It doesn't have any effect, and that's why there is no advancement. My one Mataji was saying me, I'm advancing like a snail. The snail just goes, then stops sometime, again goes, stop, and it just goes like that. Why? Then I checked her. I was asking Mataji, what do you do in the early morning? She's like, in the bed itself, I need a bed coffee. That's it. Before getting up, they didn't drink the coffee and then start chanting the rounds. So the consciousness already intoxicated. Coffee has caffeine in. Most of you would be feeling very bad when I speak this, but I have to be fearless in speaking because it's Prabhupada making me speak. So definitely that coffee, just imagine here it's okay. So when I went abroad, I could see every shop or every second shop was a coffee shop. And there were like so many types of beverages, so many times cappuccino and that and this, and so much they add. And it's like long queue in front of them. Every day, like not every day, in the sense every day, every time, even afternoon they have, evening and night. It's like a habit for them. So to overcome all that, the foreigners can do. Why can't we do? Even in South India, it's like very addicted to this filter coffee and brew and all this. But then, okay, you need it, you want it, but at the same time you want chanting. That's not how it works. So the Shastras, the rules and regulations is for us. We have to do some kind of sacrifice. And if you don't do that sacrifice, then you won't get to Krishna. You won't get the higher purpose. Krishna is like, okay, your sense gratification is more than pleasing me. Then so most of them would have stayed in ISKCON because of these rules. Most of them would have taken initiation if these rules were not there. But some sacrifice has to be done for Krishna. Otherwise, the process won't work. Advancement will be low. It will be very slow. But on the other hand, you see somebody who came to Krishna consciousness like just 1 or 2 years back and following everything, all the 4 regulative principles and still chanting the rounds. that person will advance like anything. That person's consciousness will be pure. That person can remember slokas and will be a nice preacher or can do so many other services nicely. Because the process is really working in that person. Like Ayurvedic medicine, you should follow the diet plan, or else the medicine doesn't have 100% effect. Yes, the pure Harinam will make you feel happy. You might get peace of mind. You might feel like I'm happy chanting the holy name in this way. But then, don't we have to go back to Godhead? I'm talking also for me also. I don't have qualification to speak to you, but then I'm just telling for myself also. We should be sincere. We should show Krishna how sincere we are. Right? So rules and regulations is for us. Prabhupada never compromised on it. So we should also never compromise on that. So that's why people are like, why we are not getting initiated? We know it's been so many months. It's not like now Mr. Prabhu is making it very strict, because he's just following what the parampara is. No, we don't want to Guru Maharaj to take risk by giving a soul to him, saying that this person to compromise on the regulative principles. No, but I know that some family have problems. Some family is like joint family and you can't avoid all these things. It takes time, but if there is a will, there is a way. Right? If there is a will, there's a way. You can all follow these. Let the family take, but then at least you are practicing Krishna consciousness. So we can check ourselves. Why am I not advancing in Krishna consciousness? Because of my diet, because of my other things, other habits. So let me just stop all that and try to advance in Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, we are doing tamasic bhakti. We are still in tamoguna. That bhakti is there. Bhakti cannot be tamasic, but the person who is doing bhakti can be in tamoguna. So when we follow the four regulative principles, which is given in the scriptures, then we'll be able to advance. That's what Prabhupada gave us. Right? So we can't blame the process. We should blame ourselves if we are not advancing in Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, everyone. So anybody likes to take initiation? Guru Maharaj, His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Guru Maharaj will be visiting us in July mostly. So those who have not taken shelter, please take it. This is a wonderful opportunity and we won't get it. So please try to do. Yes, Chitra Mataji, Hare Krishna. Anything to add? Any questions? Hare Krishna, Prafulla Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. One question, Mataji. That shelter from where to post, Mataji? That link I am not getting.
Shelter form, you can ask the admins, whichever level you are in. Okay, you're in Bhakti Shastri, no? Just contact the admins or the teachers. They'll send you the admin, this thing, shelter form.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, how will we come to know whether our forms are intact and will we get any call or confirmation, Mataji, I have submitted all?
Yeah, you will be getting a call, Mataji, soon. Okay. Yes, Sugandhi Mataji, Hare Krishna. Sugandhi Iyer Mataji.
Mataji, this shelter form, I have filled it couple of times. It has been accepted by Sri Lakshmi, etc. And how do I enter? Now I chant about 20 rounds a day. I follow the 4 regulative principles. I attend Bhagavatam class. Anything else is required besides these? And how do I go for this actual shelter? I've already filled the form a couple of times, Mataji.
You already taken shelter, no? You can go for initiation then.
No, I'm not yet. I filled the form, but I'm not yet taken it. Means what is the process? Like you just now said, Mataji, that the Guruji has come. Now, what is the next procedure like?
No. The shelter form is just filling the form and sending, and that's just an official thing which Prabhu sends to the JP's office. And there's nothing after that. It's just like that. And then you have to wait for 6 months to 1 year to get initiated.
Okay. And then for initiation, what else we have to do, Mataji?
That's what you have to wait for 6 months, and then you can start filling the form. You have to finish reading first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Nectar of Devotion, Teachings of Lord Chaitanya, and all the books.
Okay.
First canto, there are no compromise on reading. So when we got a call from the office that they'll never compromise on reading. Many devotees didn't finish reading Srimad Bhagavatam. So if you're really wanted to get initiated, so please finish reading first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you for joining. Yes, Usha Mataji. Last question for the day.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Hare Krishna Mataji. I have already sent the shelter form to twice or thrice I have sent. But how do we come to know that I have been given shelter?
That's what shelter forms are all sent, Mataji. Or if you have sent to us, definitely Prabhu have already forwarded it. So after that, you can start filling your initiation form. But all are very excited to fill the initiation form, but nobody is meeting the criteria. So first, you start reading Srimad Bhagavatam, finish reading Srimad Bhagavatam, all the books that is required for initiation, and then please apply for initiation. Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you for joining. Vancha kalpatarubhascha kripa sindhubhyo patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavibhyo namah.